Okay, so I'm going to take you right through the process of preparing broccoli seed and broccoli sprouts to get sulforaphane, which is a great cancer fighter. So the first thing I usually do is soak the seed for 12 hours. I do maybe 2 just regular spoonfuls. Put some fresh water in, and I already washed my hands thoroughly. Give it a bit of a shush around because otherwise the dry ones float on top. And then that just basically soaks for 12 hours. So you can prepare it in the morning and then do the next step at night, or prepare it at night, do the next step in the morning. So after the seed has soaked for 12 hours, you need to give it a good wash. Use a little strainer. Pour the seed into the strainer. To give it an extra rinse to get it all out. The idea here is to give it a really good rinse so that anything that's been growing. And then I use these seed raising trays from Bunnings. Just tap that in there. Give it a bit of water, enough to cover the little valve, and then I usually just sit it on the side of the sink and let that water drain away. If I can get it level. That's level enough. So here's a stack of broccoli sprouts in the process of growing. The newest tray goes in at the top. You need to stagger the drains so that they're on opposite sides all the way down, so that the water flows and washes all the seeds every time you wash them. When you come to wash them, you rinse, tip out what was in there, and then just fill the top tray up to about 1 centimetre from the top of the tray. And that's enough water then to give the sprouts a really good wash all the way down. You need to do that twice a day. I just do morning and night. Remember to empty your bottom tray, otherwise you'll have a flood. Pause. So I've just removed the bottom tray, which is around about the right level of maturity. I wouldn't let them get any larger than that because the sulforaphane content doesn't improve, and so this is kind of the optimal time to get them. So first of all, getting them out into a bowl. Now, the idea here is I'm just separating out the sprouts from any unsprouted seeds and the husks. I use a whisk, and that just knocks the sprouts from any husks that are still stuck to the little sprouts. But it's fine to get a few of the seeds in. This will just get rid of the majority. Just let that settle for a minute and you'll see how the sprouts are all still floating and the heavier seeds sink to the bottom. Then I just very carefully pour that through the strainer. And I'm going to try and get those smaller sprouts as well. There's still quite a few in there. And that's basically what I discard. Drain these really well. And then we'll bring them over to where the next steps take place. I like to dry the tap water off the sprouts so that when they're resting, it's just mushed up sprouts and sprout juice. So I just use some paper towel, squeeze out the water. And I use the back of my hand just to brush the sprouts from the towel. Now at the moment, there is no sulforaphane in these sprouts. Same as there's no sulforaphane itself in a piece of broccoli. The sulforaphane forms when the sprout gets broken and mushed. So you can do that by chewing them up really, really well and leaving them sitting in your mouth for a little while. or you can do it like this. I usually chop them first. It's going to be loud. Alright, they're sufficiently chopped. And then they just go in here. I use a spatula so that I don't leave too many behind. Alright. And then mushing. And I'm going to show you all of this, even though it may be a little boring and repetitive, just so that you can see it doesn't actually take that long, and you'll see the kind of level of, it's almost mushing it to a paste. So if you've ever made your own curry paste, then you know what I'm talking about. But because the sprouts are quite soft, it doesn't actually take very long to get them to a nice paste. And basically that's crushing the sprout so that it's releasing the enzymes that combine together to make the sulforaphane. Just about there, I think. Sometimes I go a bit longer if I'm feeling more energetic, but I reckon that's pretty good. Alright. Just going to use a teaspoon to, I don't want to lose any of my precious sprouts. And then I usually just scrape it all down so that it's in contact with each other and it's easier to scoop out at the end of the process. Alright, I usually cover that then with the paper towel. Let that sit for 30 minutes, set a timer, because if you leave them too long they will be unpleasant and not good for you. So 30 to 40 minutes is ideal. And then I scoop it out. I just have it in a glass with some filtered water. You know, it was a bit unpleasant the first time I had it, but now I'm really used to it. You can mix it with juice, mush it in with a banana. Yeah, that's it. Fantastic cancer fighter.